my contacts in, so.
Nice. Blind?
Basically.
How bad is your vision?
It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad?
Pretty bad.
It's not
Same.
ideal. It's not ideal, so that. Your contacts
blind
are
for like 2 weeks.
I was blind, like actually blind.
Oh yeah, with one eye.
Yeah.
One eye.
But when I was really just, I couldn't see. So sad.
That's crazy.
It was nice though.
What it do is good with Poppy, y'all. It's your homie ATM.
And it's your boy O.
And we are the Lingo baby. Always nice to see nice, fresh, new faces on this show, as always. Please.
Yo, today we have an enigma of talent. That's what I like to call him. I said Jonathan George. The man's got many talents, dude. Photos, videos, producing. What else do you probably act and tap dance too? Something.
No, I used to do stand-up comedy.
I see that. A
Yeah.
lot of things are clicking today. But tell us about yourself, bro. First of all, where are you from?
I was born in a.
What was that?
I don't know.
It's your building, bro. You never know what it is in here.
I hope she's okay.
Me too.
Okay. Where am I from? I was born in the Bronx. I lived in the Bronx for a minute.
Why have I not known that?
Yeah, I lived there until I was like 8, and I moved to Atlanta.
Copy.
And then I came back to New York for school because I went to NYU.
Oh yeah.
So for like a good bulk, you're in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Yeah, but most of the time has been spent here, actually.
So you say you're Atlanta, born and raised. Well, not born, but raised. Mostly.
Atlanta raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, say that.
You know what? Like he's when he was here, he was dribbling and shit. Is that where you like started like hooping? Or?
And in Atlanta, like middle school, probably. But I was bad for a long time. Niggas glowed up.
Were you really on? You were joking like I was on varsity. I'm like, were you really in Canada varsity?
I was not on varsity. I watched those niggas play though.
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Yeah, no, but I'm still nice though. Yeah.
So when did like tap into like more like artistry stuff? You do a lot of things now, but what was like one of your first passions?
Probably piano, because I started playing piano when I was 3, like 2 or 3. I was putting lessons, and then violin. I started at 10. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. My older siblings played. And violin I started at 10, and I started also playing guitar at 10. And I don't really play guitar that much anymore, but I still play violin, piano. Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning a lot. This is my first time meeting you.
Yeah, it's my first time meeting you
I know,
as well.
so this is like
So
yeah, I know, so like it's nice to learn a lot about you. So if you had to like tagline yourself, what would it be like? You're introducing yourself to new people. Like what's your tagline? What would you say?
I probably wouldn't even bring up my art. I'd probably just say, my name is Jonathan, and I'm 23 years old.
He's so good at not talking about the shit he's dope at. It's so funny. Like,
I'm like sitting here like because you sent me his website prior. So I was looking at your website.
JonathanGeorge.com.
Yeah, you got a good amount of accolades under your belt.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I've been published a lot with photography over the past year. One because of Malik. I've been taking photos for him, and he gets write-ups. I was also doing photo and video direction and production at an Afrofuturist jewelry brand, so I was able to get like more publications there. We had our first New York Fashion Week show in September, and that was a really cool experience.
Wait, so like, all right, let's
Buckle down for a second.
let's pause. Fuck, I don't even know what I want to tap on. Like, all right, cool.
You're gonna take it like
discipline
at a time.
Yeah.
Photography, then music.
So okay, so going into the photography because you touched on Malik, I feel like it was funny being behind the scenes of I think it was the Miss 305 shoot that was on the rooftop, right? And we were looking for like a place to like connect to like the lights and shit, and we like broke into that door on your
We were doing a lot of random shit.
So talk to me about like like you're doing your photographies, like how many moments are there like that, like you're just figuring out like to get the set ready and like because that was like a crazy day. I feel like
Yeah.
that was kind of like make or break for those photos because it was definitely in the middle of the night.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like being such a young artist, we don't have all the resources that we want or we need to get ideal photos off or whatever it may be. So it's like that shit happens a lot low key. But as I'm, growing and being able to get more jobs, I'm able to, work with better resources and I'm able to be prepared, which I'm super grateful for. But I feel like, yeah, just, being young and trying to work with what you have, that shit really hard. It's
100%. Yeah.
so hard. But yeah.
Definitely feel that. Yeah. You don't like photography though. Like you always tell me that.
It's one of those things where it's like I think it's cool and it was definitely like how I got my foot into the artistic world as a means of connecting with people. Because playing piano growing up, it's more so just like I have the recital, I play for my family, and that's really it. With photography, I was able to connect with other people. Like when I first got to New York, back to New York, in 2017, one of the first things I did was shoot Fashion Week for like the school newspaper, and like that was like my first like real introduction into, I guess, taking my art to another level. But yeah.
Yeah, and so you were shooting for like NYU for photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. How'd you get that?
I hit like the editor for Washington Square News. That's the name of the NYU newspaper.
Of course.
They said that they were looking for photographers. I was like, here's my work.
Yeah.
And then they liked it, and I was able to shoot some stuff, like after being in New York for like 2-3 weeks.
Nice.
Wait, so you started the music as a child when you started photography?
Yeah.
Missed that.
I started photography at 16.
Word. Oh shit.
About 16. But yeah, I started like, cause I feel like my musical journey is weird just cause with production feels completely different, but like still related to piano and violin. But like with production, it's like with how photography allowed me to connect with other artists, production also did something very similar, which I started only like a little over a year ago at this point. But yeah.
Wait, you talking about production?
Production in terms of music producing.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Wait, before you keep going,
Yeah,
you
I
get
know.
to producing, so you said you did New York Fashion Week twice. You did it like when you first came back from the city, and then
No, I did more. I did a lot. I've done it a lot.
last time I was watching, I was on your Instagram for like the most recent New York Fashion Week. It seemed like you was running around like a chicken with the head's cut off, like just trying to get that shit done.
Yeah.
How hard was that on a scale? Like, because it's a huge event.
Yeah, it is a big event. Because when I was first introduced to New York Fashion Week, I was just a photographer for a publication. So it's like I just go to the show, I shoot, and then I leave. With this last Fashion Week, I was actually putting the shit together. I was, in the space, working with the space, thinking about how the photos are gonna go, thinking about where the models are gonna walk.
Yeah.
Talking about who's gonna be there. Brent Fayez actually came to it, and which was like really cool seeing, a big artist who I love come to see my work, the shit that I worked on. And he said he fucked with it, so that was like also cool, just being able to connect on that level. But yeah, no, I was definitely, it was my first time putting together a fashion show with that team I was working with, and it was also all of their first times putting together a fashion show. But we were able to get it done, and we were really well received by like Vogue and WWD and like Office magazine. So it was like, that was cool. Nice little cool thing. Yeah.
Nice little cool thing.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool.
Wow. An enigma of talent.
Yeah.
Good way to describe him.
Yeah,
Like,
like from like my short brief time, like meeting you through Malik, it's just more and more shit that you end up like doing, just like reaching out. I think the most recent thing I realized that and you said earlier, production, like the producing side. So from music as a child, like was that like early on, but like between the ages, like while you were learning like photography, were you like picking up like like Logic or FL or something like that?
No, actually, I started producing over quarantine when quarantine first hit.
Oh, word.
But
It's one of those quarantine skills or talents.
a little hobby.
Little hobby.
But it was like I always knew I wanted to make music just because I had a really large musical background. So it's like I knew I wanted to make music since I was like 16 or 17, really. And I tried actually in high school, but it was like that shit confusing as fuck if you don't have anybody else to teach you or. But yeah, nah.
And you just want to be on the producing side, or like you want to like perform, like write, perform?
I started out with just producing because I thought it was important for me to get a foundation in something.
Yeah.
But as of recent, I have been writing a lot more, working with friends, writing too, trying to come up with like, literally just like reference tracks or just trying to get better overall. But yeah.
No, last time I was at your crib, like I heard something. I was just like, it was the shit you played. So you play after the Free Larry Hoover Banford concert.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yo, that show was like, yo, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like, that's what I felt like. That's why I asked, like, yo, how long have you been doing? That's funny that you're, what, 2 years now?
A little under 2 years, a year and a half, because I started in like June. But yeah, definitely having that musical background did help a lot. But it also felt like one of those things where it was like I felt good, but I didn't feel fluent within making music. I felt like I wasn't hitting or I wasn't close to my potential a lot with my earlier stuff.
Yeah.
But as of recent, I've been really taking the time to scale back the amount I'm trying to do. So I've been focusing on things like making samples. Because it's like I'm not focused on the way that the drums are sitting. I'm really focused on the way that instrumentation is placed, the way that frequencies are occupied. So it's like I really like to learn whatever artistic medium I'm doing really thoroughly before I put a lot of shit out or even show people for real. But yeah.
All right. I want to hear some of the early work then. Yeah, you produced like a limited like EP, a project for.
I did, but it was one of those things where it's like that was a lot of my early work, and like it was cool. Definitely seeing all of the songs come together and working with a good friend of mine. His name is Raw. Yeah, he's a really talented artist. But like it's one of those things where it was some of my first beats and I really enjoyed, and it was such a great learning experience seeing it all come together. But at the same time, I know that I could do so much more.
Yeah. What are you like some of your contemporaries? Like who do you listen to? You like in production?
Oh, for production, in terms of like sample making, I really enjoy Frank Dukes. He's one of those people who, his samples and loops that he makes gets a lot of placements with big artists who I love, like Kanye and Drake. But also works with niggas like Amine. I fuck with Amine too.
Yeah, he's at a concert recently.
Yeah.
Turn my phone.
Did y'all went or no?
No, I know a couple people that went though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone was there, but not you.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't really be going to concerts for.
And Coochies was there too, apparently.
What's his name?
Coochies, really?
Is it? How do you? I'd be saying Coochie.
I be saying Coochies. I be saying Coochies.
So-
It can't be Coochies.
It can't be.
Coochies is crazy. It can't be Coochies. He said it can't be.
It can't be.
No.
Yeah.
You don't like concerts?
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask.
I don't
Why
go to
not?
concerts. I don't like people.
Like crowds?
Nah.
What about sitting concerts? How come? Is it just that amount, like the larger?
It's a lot of people.
Okay.
I could just be at home. Yeah.
That was it. I could just be at
I could
home.
just be at home and I could play the album from my phone.
But you don't feel like.
Is there
there's something-
anybody?
Right.
Is there anybody you would like, despite the dislike of crowds, go see in concert though?
And maybe that I would. I mean, it's like since I haven't even been to that many, it's like I don't even feel like I'm missing out for real.
Okay.
But also that shit costs some money. I don't like spending money. Yeah, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on that much yet.
Wait, like not even like on like a production side, like hearing like okay, I'm hearing this song on the album we at the crib and like okay, it's a good song. Like oh, now I see why he used like this drum. This shit is slapping on the speakers right now. Like because there's moments like that with people like that can change the whole like breakdown of how like you're working on a project.
I'm sure there are moments like that. Yeah, I'm really sure that there are.
Standing on it. Fuck it.
It's like eventually I know that I'm gonna get into it once I have money, once I have time, once I feel comfortable with my art for real. But as of right now, I'm chilling with not going. Like I don't really care.
Fair. I guess that's a fair point. I've never heard somebody though that like personally like dislike concerts. I understand the crowd aspect though. That one I understand for sure. Can't get him to know big concert.
Yeah, no, I don't like to be
in the
it.
mix.
Yeah, I like
we
you know
went
what I'm saying?
to Action Bronson over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was all standing, big ass crowd, but we was in our nice little bubble
Little
pocket.
bubble.
Yeah.
I can hear everything and see.
Could see everything, just
Like,
chilling. It was just nice
That
to
sounds
experience
calm.
it live. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
Oh,
Same thing
long
at Terminal
shoulders.
5. I literally saw the whole crowd in front of us. We were just standing there on the ledge, just chilling. No, I feel that. But I wanted to double back. So you said there's like you don't really like like taking photos. I wanted to understand I wanted to ask how do you feel about the video work you've done and just video work you would do in the future or would want to do, if that is a thing you would want to tap into more.
The thing with video too, I feel like it's a lot of untapped potential for me, just because I don't have the resources that I need to make things as good as I want to. But I feel like that's gonna change just because I got a new job.
Congrats.
Thank you. Doing content producing for a Broadway theater, oddly enough. And it's like they're giving me a lot of the resources that I would need to, really elevate my videos holistically in my art overall. But in regards to video work that I love and I really take inspiration from, Sampha, Process, his visual album, it doesn't really get talked about a lot, but it's really beautiful. I think it was shot on 16mm film, and I love film. Yeah, but that's my biggest inspiration, what I want to do, what is the video work that I would ideally make. But also in regards to his album Process, I also love the project too. I would have loved to be a part of it or make something that good. So it's I feel like music and video are very much so connected for me. I've also worked on a lot of films. Being grateful enough to have friends who are taking classes at NYU with people like Spike Lee. So being able to be under that guidance of a black filmmaker so big, and working on projects. But filmmaking is actually making movies is something I want to do later down the line, just because it's one of those things you need a lot of resources for.
Yeah, 100%.
You need the connections. But yeah, there's so much shit I feel like I'd be doing, and it's a lot to talk about and get into.
And we have to get into it. I want you to take me through the recent video you directed, the Blue Lung video by Just N.
Yeah,
that was pretty dope. I really liked the song, but it visually it had that thrasher vibe, with all the skateboarding and shit. How hard was that to to catch on video? Were you on skateboards or something, on rollerblades or something?
I actually used to ride skate. That used to be one of my big passions. In elementary school, I would spend a lot of time skating, but I actually wasn't on a skateboard. And it's one of those things too where it's I also like to make the process of making videos and making all of my art as easy as possible.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it actually wasn't very hard to shoot at all. A very chill process, very nice process, very, it wasn't intensive. And I was really happy with the way that it came out. So it's that was a cool little thing that I feel like I made that I didn't have to put a lot of work into.
What was the turnaround on that?
In regards to how long it took?
Yeah, so it seems like you focus on efficiency when you're working on your project. So
It was a few days.
It was a few days.
Yeah, it was very short. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely do work fast. When we work with you, we usually get our shit back a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, just because I like making shit easy. My favorite, I wrote this down. I'm trying to remember what I wrote. I really love being a part of the process and analyzing the process and learning how we can make the process better, whatever artistic medium that may be. But my favorite songs to make, my favorite videos to make, my favorite photos to take are the ones that come the easiest. So it's like, I love the process. I love it being hard, but I love it when it's easy. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like a natural affinity to like a certain song.
Mhm.
Like you need to feel or like see it in your head first.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes that shit just comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Or
With any medium, sometimes that shit just, for some reason, all of the stars align. Everything is just very straightforward. And that process, the natural feeling process, it's good. It's one of my favorites because it's like all the work that I've done, all the work that I've put into learning the craft holistically has paid off, and I'm able to do this effortlessly. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Jeez, like yo, like you're really into the shit that you do. I feel like it's one thing to find someone who's like does a lot of things, but they can be like kind of like all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like not really giving to their passions the way that they should be. They're just doing a lot of shit. But it seems like you really fuck with the things that you're doing. Like you don't do anything if you don't fuck with it.
Yeah. I do things specifically to be good at them. You know what I mean? And it's not one of those things where it's like, how some people don't want to do something because they know they're not going to be amazing at it. I'm going to do that thing and I'm going to be amazing at it. I'm not going to not do it because I won't think I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to do it and I'm going to be really good. So it's like, I feel like my parents were able to push me really well and able to, provide a good home. So I'm good foundationally in regards to dedicating time to learning. I feel like the approach that I take to things is very academic.
Like
how so?
Like it being studious.
Yeah, it's like a science to all art, and I'm really breaking it down and analyzing it. And essentially, when I talk to my friends like Ashandi, like
shout out Shami really.
It's essentially like writing one long essay in regards to you bring up the point that you want to talk about, you analyze it, and then you provide with your research that you've done, and then there's a thesis statement
and in there
whichever argument I'm trying to prove, and there's of course a conclusion, but it's very academic in the way that I regard my art. But with that being said, it's like I was talking about this yesterday too. It's like I love the stuff that I do. It's so fun. But at the same time, I think an important part of it is trying to remove ego, and not be too connected to it. Which is like, it's so nuanced and intricate and multifaceted. So much that you have to take into account that I feel like if you want to be a really good artist, the people who I look up to, the people like Kanye, like Drake, who've been making music for a long time, and who can continually make good music, they understand a lot of the nuances, and that's what I look for in the rest of my art too.
Yeah, because you can't be like, you're not the thing that you do. You know what I'm saying? Like you're someone. This is what I do. I take pride in what I do, but it's not who I am. I feel like a lot of people, like to your point, like a lot of people lose themselves when you like start to identify as, yeah, I am an artist. You are, but you're a person who creates art.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's one of the ways that I feel like I don't get too caught up in, like, of course I want my shit all to be really good. But it's like, I don't necessarily get caught up on if this isn't the quality that I want it to be, I know that I can do it again and I can improve and I can look and analyze and see what fell through, so how I can improve in the future. But that kind of like is related to the way that I introduce myself and how.
with your name and your age.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
even
instead
like.
of saying I'm.
Yeah.
Word, yeah.
I'm not my crafts in essence.
Exactly.
Because then you probably wait for someone like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, well.
And then I'll explain what I do, but it's like.
Not necessarily who
I am.
As an essence.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about like even my accomplishments that I've had, because I know the accomplishments that I will have are going to be a lot bigger. And even those accomplishments that I have that are bigger, those are just shit I've done. It's cool, but it's not who I am authentically, and that shit sound a little corny, but yeah.
Don't you think though that like the things you do essentially like add up to the character that you are.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like what you take away from it. Mostly.
Yeah.
Because once again, niggas get too caught up in being this one thing, and if you take that one thing away from them, what are they after that?
And we're back. Nice quick one.
Just like that, you'll step right back into it. We're here with Jonathan George.
My artist name is 99 Kaya, by the way. But
Yeah,
that's
I
just
always,
my artist name.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always hard as fuck finding you on social media for me sometimes. Always like Jonathan, Jonathan.
Yeah.
99. What is that? 99.
Okay, 1999 is when I was born.
Got you.
Kaya, have you all seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Mm-hmm.
Katara's original name was Kaya, before her name was Katara. And Katara's my favorite character. I used to have a big crush on her.
Really?
What do you mean? Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I mean,
She was bad as fuck, bro.
Those other daddies in the show.
To me, when I
Really?
was little.
Ooh, the moon goddess she was fire.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
He got you on that one.
Slap him. Zula, if you like that, you know.
Like that.
So
99 Kaya.
So 99 Kaya, yeah. Yes. But it's like, you know how Childish Gambino and Donald Glover, he's
Okay.
known as both.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could possibly take a similar route just because, doing filmmaking, but also doing music. But
Right.
then,
You're just staying in the two realms.
yeah.
Do you feel like, because I don't necessarily feel like this applies to Childish Gambino, but I'm just asking. Do you feel like you would carry them in different personas in any way? Or just simply the two different names in the two different realms?
Yeah, just simply two different names in different realms.
Gotcha.
Wait, so it was like all the artist shit 99 Kaya?
More so like the music stuff,
Yeah.
99 Kaya, and then the writing, filmmaking stuff, my name is Jonathan George.
But it's also photography and.
Yeah, that's the weird middle ground.
Could be either or.
Could be either or.
What about the digital design work? I see you've been editing a lot of your work. Your editing is really fire in your photos. I feel like that's also like a whole nother part of photography, like editing your photos to get like the correct lighting, texture, and
yeah. It's one of those things where it's like I feel like me knowing having different artistic paths is learning the foundation of what makes good art, or what is good to me. Knowing like, okay, I like this stuff in regards to making music. This is what I like. This is where I should focus on building. In regards to photos, I like this type of photos. This is what I should focus on, like my lighting or colors that I use. In regards to the graphic design stuff that I do, this is the graphic design I like. These are the elements that I need for it. Really just honing in on what makes something good, and then executing that, in the best way that I can. So really just trying to, and that's what I brought up, how I felt like my art was academic in a way, and that is also related to that. So yeah, the digital art is just something like I dabble in sometimes. I'd like to expand on it a little bit more, but yeah, it's just something I do.
About being new NFT creator.
Damn, if I knew what NFT what does it stand for? Non-fungible token? That shit. Maybe. I don't know.
Bro, that shit just a QR link, honestly. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
if you want to make better, grab somebody you can tap in.
I don't think I believe in it.
I feel like we're heading that way. Like, to the point, like, we want a wallet. It's just gonna be your neuro chip.
Your neurochip?
I think that's kind of cool though. That's the one thing I do think is cool. Then I think it's called Neuralink, which
you're getting a Neuralink?
Bro, it's like, I think it's cool low key. I know that they was trying it out on the pigs or the monkeys or whatever, and I know that all of them died, whatever.
They all died? I didn't.
It was like 17.
Yeah. The results are not like.
It was bad. It was abysmal. But like that shit's still cool to me for real.
I remember them just playing Pong during quarantine.
Yeah.
On live TV. That shit was crazy.
I fuck with Neuralink. NFT. I don't know if I fuck with those yet.
You want to make more real things, like
For sure. Kanye said something about how he's not concerned with NFTs just because that's not the real world, and I was like, That's relatable.
I felt that. Word.
Yeah.
You give me more like Tyler, like how he's like in this new wave of like, yeah, he's still doing his like music and producing, but like his other ventures that he's like super passionate about.
Yeah, this is something I can get kind of deep into. Just in regards to Tyler is so good at what he does in regards to music and fashion and just overall world building, as I'll be talking about. But he can only do that. One of the reasons why it's so much easier for him, why he's able to do it so much younger than Kanye, is because Kanye, you know what I mean? Kanye was Kanye. And Kanye already set that path. He made it easier for somebody else to follow in his footsteps. Kanye had it way harder. And I do think, of course, those individuals are very talented. I feel like the upcoming generation that, you know, is exposed to these things at a younger age and is able to learn them in ways that you haven't been able to do before with social media. The upcoming generations just have the ability to completely wash all of them in regards to their talent level.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're already showing them the blueprint, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And, like,
exactly.
and trailblazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that, yeah, you're right, like, I always appreciate it. And I think it's weird that, like, because we kind of, like, saw, like, Tyler come up.
Yes, yeah, we really did.
You know what I'm saying? So now that he's, like, you know, like, unveiling his own line of, like, fragrances.
That's
or,
crazy.
Like, I'm like, yo, bro, like, you're literally just doing whatever. And you have this whole, like, total, like, creative control. Is that something, does that kind of look like the zenith of what you want to do, you know, artistically?
Yeah, for a bit, being able to execute things at the highest level, wherever I choose it to be. But at the end of the day, that shit gets tiring, and that shit is just all making money. Like, of course, I love art, but as I said earlier, I'm not too attached to it. I feel like there's a point where I want to just disconnect and not do art anymore. And I want that shit to come sooner rather than later. Of course, I want to get my success and stuff first, but it's like, I don't plan on being an artist that makes stuff for consumption of other people always. I don't give a fuck about that at the end of the day. I want to do what I do to the best of my ability and then just leave just because this shit doesn't seem good to me for the long run.
Sounds like the natural way of things.
Young Thug and Gunna just had an interview about that. And, like, they, like, were talking to Young Thug about, like, the future of his rap career. And he was pretty much like, kids. Like, he was like, you know, like, he was like, what do I look like being a 40, 50-year-old rapper trying to spit bars for a young generation? Like, what do I look like? Like, I have kids that are going to need a father. I want to live my life, this, that, and the third. And Gunna came in like, I hope he never stops. You know what I'm saying? Me too, but I hope he do at some point because, like, if you think about it, there's still, like, old head rappers who still dropping bars. Some of them is still fire. Don't get me wrong. I'll still bump a new Jadakiss track.
Yeah,
you know?
never.
But then there's old school rappers who they're still rapping and you're just kind of like, gotta throw in the towel, bro. You know, hang it up, you know, at some point. Like, and whether the reason is because it's getting older, this, that, and the third, but all speaks to your ultimate point of, like, going back to, like, the Young Thug point, like, his answer was very long, but he was essentially also touch basis on the fact of, like, I've achieved the success I need to achieve. Like, I had people that came up under me. That's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to mentor people who came up under me. Like, I look at Gunna as, like, this big thing for, like, me pretty much because this, that, and the third, whatever. So, like, it all goes back to that ultimate point of he's like, I achieved the success I wanted. I did the things I wanted to do, said I was going to do. Like, there's going to come a point where I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I don't need to do it anymore, either or. And that's just going to become an inclusive term of want and need. Like, I don't need to nor want to. I just have the success. I have the funds. You know, I have the generational wealth to give to my children who'll take it onto theirs or whatever. That there's going to come a point where I don't, like, need to do it anymore.
It's always better to leave before you're asked to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
You strike me as a realist. Like, I would say.
Like you said, a real nigga?
He's mad funny. Yeah, you're mad funny for that. Nah, because, like, you don't strike me as, like, a pessimist or an optimist. You kind of just, like, very realist, logical.
Yeah.
Like, a logical creative, I would say, in general.
There's also, I feel like there's a whole side to me that we haven't even touched base on. Just in regards to being at NYU, I was an Africana Studies major, and I'm very well read on I guess Black issues in regards to things like Afro pessimism, just overall just like being a communist. Yeah. Just overall, just like a political identity is a very large part of, foundationally who I am. Just understanding where I'm coming from, what came before me, the possibilities of where we're going. Just trying to be like as well rounded and thorough as I can. But yeah.
Major. That was your major? Africana Studies?
Africana Studies, and I was a creative writing minor.
You're very heavy on the well-rounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like, definitely like that. Someone that's has their finger in like pause. That has like
They're eggs in many baskets.
Yes.
I got you.
I mean, eggs are still. You know what I'm saying?
Pause, but it's not as big as what you
Stop
gonna say.
it.
Finger in many dips. Like what was you gonna like? What was you gonna say?
Yeah, I don't even think there's like a thing for that.
Yeah,
bro.
like their fingers.
Word.
I'm trying to think.
A lot of buttons.
No.
A lot of pulses.
Holes.
No.
Yeah, maybe a hole.
Not a hole.
Holes.
I don't want it to screw more hole.
Because you said pause with fingers in.
Yeah.
So I was like,
So if you say holes, that completes the pause. It's
Yeah.
fully stopped. But
I feel like eggs in many baskets.
Let's
We
go.
Just stick with eggs in
We
many
can
baskets.
Already
continue.
lost my train of thought.
We can continue.
As somebody who has an eggs in many baskets, damn.
It's fine. What do you do to chill out? I feel like because there's someone who like you're always on the go.
Oh, I mean to chill out. I don't chill out that much, but I feel like
You're pretty chill yourself. Like just.
yeah, I'm just the person who I am. I try to use the least amount of energy for my artistic stuff and still have it be the highest quality. Efficiency is something that's very important. But I do meditate a lot. Yeah.
It's important.
Play frequencies, fight demons.
Regular shit.
What else? Yeah, that's it.
You building shit. Dude, I was still shocked you built that like double decker.
Oh, that's another thing, a part of my childhood. My dad, my parents are, I'm Guyanese, so my parents are both from Guyana.
Okay.
And so my dad was, raised a carpenter just by the fact that he was a Caribbean kid.
No, okay.
So
we need a table.
yeah. And by that means I'm also a carpenter by blood. And I just be building shit because my dad was just like, all right, we got to build this shit. I was there building. So yeah, I build a lot, which is fun. It feels very human to build.
I was about to say, like,
Oh
it
my
feels like a
gosh.
very, like, I don't know, when you make, like, physically build something with your hands, it's like a very,
Yeah.
like, it's a handmade, man-made, like, physical structure. Like,
It's crazy.
That's kind of dope, like.
Kinda, for real. But it's tiring.
It's labor.
It's labor.
Whole shit.
Yeah, it's labor. I have a lot to say on labor. Shout out Karl Marx.
I was about to say, shout out Mark, for real.
Economy, the Red Scare episode.
Yeah. But yeah, physical labor is cool. I always feel so good after doing physical labor. Versus mental labor.
No pause on that.
Yo.
No.
Oh wait.
That was I don't think it needed one.
This nigga A.O.
It's
meters.
just crazy right now. Mind you, he was the one who took me to tell me to take the picture.
Oh.
Him and Isaiah.
Should be me.
No, physical labor is good. Mental labor, which I also basically spend all my time doing at this point. That shit is like fun a little bit, but it's like I could go without it. Just head empty,
Head empty. No thoughts.
No thoughts.
no thoughts.
Hollow.
But yeah,
I feel like that's you when you're smacked. Like
when I'm smacked,
he's notoriously like one pill. I'm good for a
yeah,
couple hours.
I can't. I'm not.
Like a
Okay.
smoke. You're not a smoker.
No, I am a smoker. But I only take 1 hit, 1 to 2 hits.
Do you cop weed yourself and like smoke?
do I call weed myself and smoke? My girl cops weed, but we always have weed.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough.
But we're both 1-2 hits, and we're good.
It's efficient as hell on weed.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
If we talk about efficiency, I'm also efficient with weed and alcohol.
This is a low tolerance. It sounds like.
That's okay, because it's efficient on all other fronts.
Yeah.
You're saving that shit
Saving
for
money.
a minute.
Yeah, bro.
I feel you on the liquor though. Like, I'll buy a bottle, it'll last me a couple months.
Yeah. Bro.
Maybe longer. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt that.
But yeah, Malik was asking something where it was like, can you say it one more time?
Oh yeah, like what's the highest version of yourself, or like what is success?
Okay, and I love that question. So it's like, in regards to my artistic stuff, my highest version of myself, or I see a version of myself that maybe not be the highest, but higher, is like I want to win a few awards. I'd love an Emmy, a Grammy, and an Oscar.
Let's go for the EGOT.
Ego.
No, I just want the ego.
You want the Tony?
No, I don't give a fuck about
He said, "I just want to eat that."
I just
You're
want-
working for a plate.
That's
Like,
good.
I'm actually working. Yeah, so I low key may get a Tony. I wouldn't say I won the Tony, but my the place where I'm working at, we've won Tonys before.
okay, you touched the Tony.
Yeah.
Tony adjacent.
Yeah, literally Tony adjacent.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tony adjacent, but
The T's already there. Yeah, so
I'll go
he's
fuck
got
with
ego.
Yeah, someone who's just won at least those awards. And in regards to actually being a person disconnected from work, I just want to be out, possibly in the Caribbean, probably in the Caribbean, on a farm, you know, making my crops.
Sounds like Kanye, Wyoming.
Yeah, but Wyoming is cold.
Well, yeah, Wyoming is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's insane.
You know.
It's
Fuck that nigga on.
Might as well go to the Caribbean at that.
Yeah.
Would you go back to Guyana?
I've never been to Guyana. But maybe I'll go to Guyana. See what the vibes is.
Hey, I mean, I'm sorry, you said farmland. I know a lot of Guyanese people that was born and raised there, like that was raised there. So
Yeah.
that seems like the perfect, you know.
Yeah. We got some farms back there still. Maybe I could go.
See
Get
what's
them
up.
going.
Yeah, get them
let's
going.
run it
Facts.
back. No, we went into farming is real, like earth.
Yeah,
Plant shit
bro.
together.
That shit is
Green
wonderful.
thumb.
Very natural.
Do you have a green thumb? You plant? You
Actually don't. I mean, I plant like flowers because once again, growing up and being in the suburbs, we had a big lawn, a lot of grass. My mom would be like, "I got these tulips, go plant them."
Go plant them,
I
yeah.
got these tulips, go plant them. It would be like September, October. Tulips wouldn't bloom till springtime. You know, March, April. So it's one of those things where it's like I would plant the tulips, wait a long time to see it grow, and then I see the bounties of my work, which was wonderful. But like, you can't eat a tulip. I don't think you can eat a tulip.
You probably make.
You can eat anything, but I don't think you should eat a tulip. But I want to make some shit that I can eat.
So culinary snacks.
Yeah, I'd love to get into cooking. Speaking of things that I'd love to get into, you gonna say it?
Yeah.
No, I said speaking of things I would love to get into. I
Pause.
was gonna say
Hey, yo.
pause.
Pause.
Yeah, okay, wait on it.
Maybe it is. Maybe I was just like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Nah. Anyway, I've been learning a lot about, because I grew up a math and science person actually. I would do
Got you.
artistic stuff on the side, but I grew up, loving math and science, or rather just being an overall academic person. So it's like recently, alongside, taking that deeper dive into learning how to produce, really focusing on the mechanics of it, I've been learning a lot about quantum physics as a way to, like stretch my mind, push myself in regards to mental dexterity and grow like that. So a lot of my time recently has been spent reading, learning about quantum physics, about general relativity, astrophysics as a whole.
Yeah, we were talking about gravity before we got on the air.
Yeah, we were
just
talking about
like,
gravity, and I love gravity.
Keeps you down to earth.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm mad y'all laughing.
I'll play. Yeah, no, but just learning about, other stuff to push myself mentally to better be able to learn how to make music.
The astrophysics is helping with the beats.
It is somehow.
It's all numbers, ain't it? Like everything is.
That's another deep conversation I could get into. Music is math, and every note that exists has always existed, and every note that exists is also just different variations of the same wavelength. So a really scrunched up, shorter wavelength, higher note, stretched out, lower note, but still the same wavelength. So on a piano, the highest key is very short. You press down the highest key, it doesn't sustain for very long, versus the lowest key being very long just because it's representative of the longer wavelength versus the shorter wavelength of the higher note. It's
Right.
the same note though.
Right.
But just
different octave.
Yeah, different octaves varies in wavelength. And that's another thing I wanted to
That's another thing I'm trying to come on.
He does like those little things where like he knows so much and you're learning about something very new and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it's the best type of people though. You're, in a way, you're kind of like a human sponge for information.
Yeah.
So it's like,
random shit too.
But not only
Not
absorbing, like, sitting down having a so far 47-minute conversation with you, I've either learned new things, learned things about you, or overall got refreshed on things I thought I forgot. So I think that's dope. Like, it's, you carry a lot with you wherever you go, but you're also a very chill overall person that it's not necessarily, I would say, expected. I think that's dope. It's a very interesting personality to have. No, for real.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I try.
You succeed very well, and you keep getting better.
Yeah, that's your
part. Thing. Yeah,
I
you keep
getting
better. Yeah.
But yeah, just in regards to what I was saying earlier a little bit was just the way that we learn in school. It's lame as fuck.
It's very mid.
Yeah.
Like it's lame. Just like I was learning about math recently. I did a little math section, and it was like the way that I was learning about math. I first learned about the history of math in regards to things like I don't know if you guys remember the algebra, completing the square. The completing the square, the phrase, like it was essentially moving around variables to solve for x. But the way that the phrase came to be, completing the square, was because it started with geometry. They would actually take physical shapes, and with the same equations, they would match it up with sides, and x would be the length of, you would multiply for x to get the length of a side, which I thought was very, very, very interesting. I was like, you don't learn the connections between geometry and algebra. You learn completing the square as, okay, this is an equation, you plug into to the quadratic formula, and from there you get x, and that's it. But learning the history of math, learning I guess the more so practical uses in the way that it was previously used, is very, very interesting. Learning how I guess these equations would then be transferred to things like analog computers in comparison to things like digital computers. Analog computers would actually use like simple machines like
a pulley,
like pulleys and gears and stuff like that, to arguably be more accurate than digital computers, which is very interesting for solving things like wind currents and things like waves, because being in like the 1800s, waves were very important in regards to transportation. So using things are not 1800s, more so like 1900s. So using something like an analog computer with gears and stuff, you could accurately like know high tide, low tide, when it's gonna happen, the patterns of the waves, which was very, very interesting.
Wow, you're a walking oxymoron, because you don't like to exert lots of energy, but you spend a lot of time like figuring out the front to back of everything. So it's definitely the mental like that gets exerted more than the physical.
At this point, yes. I'm trying to be efficient with it.
Of course.
Because you see, like, you're an intricate person. Like, like, you need to know the front to back, like, logistics of everything. Like, like, even that connection, like, wanting to know why, like, where that phrase came from and how those end up being, like, it's very, like, okay, you see one thing and it's never a surface level thing. There's always more to it.
and that's something that I spent a lot of time thinking about just in regards to my growth and development as, you know, a person. Bro, I used to be so confused existentially.
So confused.
Just with my existence as a kid.
A lot of kids are.
No, but I
Yeah,
can
no.
see it in particular.
Bro, like I'm talking about and thinking back on the feelings that I had. Like, of course, I was confused at the time and I didn't understand the weight of that feeling. But, bro, I was really confused about a lot of shit. Like, you know, the Coinstar machine? Like, you know, like, you get coins, you put the coins in the machine.
And
and
it flattens it and shit?
No, it doesn't flatten it. It gives you, like, puts it on a gift card maybe, or it gives you cash for it.
Oh, no, I know the ones you're talking about. You put the coins and it gives you, like, that flattened
Stretched
penny
out,
with, like,
No, not that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
no.
that seems so pointless to me. That's one thing I don't really know
I think
about.
they have decorative.
Yeah. I always used to do them at museums and shit like that.
Like that.
No, but I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Coinstar just being like if you have a bunch of coins around your apartment, your house.
Oh, and then they give you cash for
They
it.
give you cash for it.
Oh,
I got you.
yeah,
Yes,
TD
yes,
Bank
yes.
and shit.
Yeah, TD Bank, they got them, yeah.
Okay, so it's like imagine you 6 years old. How the fuck are you supposed to understand what a Coinstar machine is just looking at it? You don't understand that shit.
You just see shit eating
You
the
just-
coins.
Exactly, it's this big ass machine, typically in a Walmart in Atlanta, and it was just like, how the fuck am I supposed to understand what a Coinstar machine is? And I feel like that example it's very exemplary of my overall confusion in childhood and why I learned so much now. Just because, how the fuck am I supposed to know?
You don't
what
like
Coinstar-
not knowing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not knowing shit, and this at this point gets deeply philosophical.
Right.
It's like it's fear. Not knowing shit is you're fearful of the unknown, fearful of the dark, fearful
A Coinstar.
of Coinstar. As comical as it sounds, it's very true, nigga. Like
True, nigga.
Is that real?
Oh my god.
Deeper
It's
than
deeper than
rap.
rap. Yes! That's what I was gonna
Always
say.
deeper than rap.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
yo,
Wow.
yeah,
You're hilarious.
thank
But
you.
like,
But you're very genuinely yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I studied comedy for years, like 2 years. I was really just studying comedy for some reason.
yeah,
For some reason.
same
And
comedy.
whenever he's like now, like if I hopefully continue to ever have conversations with you, whenever you tell me like studying, I'm in my head I know you dead ass meant like studying the shit. Yeah, like not like I looked at it. No. You was in the trenches studying the shit. Like
Yeah.
I respect that though. Like you take the time for everything you do. Like you said, you're never gonna do something and not be good at it.
Be
or something.
amazing
You know you're
at
gonna
it.
be amazing at
Yeah.
it because you exert the time to do that. To
Exactly.
do so.
hmm Another thing that I've been learning about recently is like vocal deliveries, working on that. Just because with writing and with working with friends, coming up with music in general, I at least want to learn how people deliver vocally, like really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it be singers or just rappers in general, vocal delivery and how intricate that is, understanding, how your voice moves within your mouth, within your throat, within your chest, within your stomach, is something that is very, very, very interesting to me.
No, that's a fact.
So that's what I've been spending a lot of time as of recent, kind of transitioning from quantum physics
Vocal delivery.
to studying stuff like vocal deliveries. But
Is there anybody you've been paying close attention to in terms of performers?
okay, this is gonna, and I
Because there's one person in my head like that.
I mean,
when you talk about vocal delivery, there's a person I always think of as a rapper.
What do you think of?
Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I haven't studied female vocal deliveries just because I'm a guy and I'm studying this for myself, but I definitely will look into Nicki Minaj. But of course, just thinking about her vocal delivery and how performative it is, because her essence, her aura, her everything is just such a big performance, which I love so much. Something that I don't think I'll ever be able to do. But it's like, I love that about her. I hate that about her fan base. I hate that about Barb's. Oh my gosh.
Same, but I love us at the same time.
Yeah.
But we're too much because we follow somebody who's also a lot. Like,
Yeah.
But in terms of her vocal delivery, like I don't feel like I've ever seen a female artist with as much like vocal range to do the alter ego she does, to do like the amount that she does. I feel like Potentially in terms of performance, Doja Cat is coming in very close seconds. She's doing great work in terms of like just her artistry and building her brand and the world building. I think she's starting to do a really good job at that early in her career. But I think Nicki has this like essence of vocal delivery that's just super untouched like by anybody else in the industry.
Okay, so for me at least, if I'm gonna compare myself to people, it's always the people who are at the top.
Yeah.
People like, so if it's production, I know that I'm not there yet, but I'm looking at I'm looking at Pharrell, just because those are two people who have been in the game for a long time. I'm thinking about these people for like, these are who I want to be compared to. I want y'all to compare them to me, or me to them now even if my shit isn't that good, I still want that comparison to push me further. And of course I want that comparison in 5 years too. But in regards to people like for vocal delivery, I think when Drake hops on a feature, that shit is insane the way that he just makes that song, his song basically.
In whatever accent he picks.
Bro, yeah. In whatever accent he picks, yes.
No, for real, whatever culture
Like-
he decides to be.
I feel like I feel like two people for me in terms of like male delivery. Kendrick, of course,
And that was
Mhm.
and
personal.
Tyler, like
Yeah.
especially like his older stuff where he's like, you know, really like screaming and like, you know, coming in. I forgot what song he was with. It was like him and Earl, and it's like Earl comes in, he's talking, he interrupts like Earl's verse. He's just like he drops the F-bomb, but Samuel's here,
Drops the
like
F-bomb,
it's just like
crazy.
oh well, it's just like his whole like just so like nasty, like he knows when to like turn it on to get that you know, that emotional registry across to like a listener, like, you know what I'm saying, like
Exactly. This shit really is an art, and it's so closely related to acting in regards to performance, a lot more closely than you would think.
yeah, of course.
Just because it's a performance at the end of the day, and it's like one of the reasons why I think Drake is, and I like Drake because it feels effortless for him. It feels efficient for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sometimes at a loss for quality. You know what I mean?
With you, of course, you know, the acting background.
Yeah, and I'm saying
Yeah.
that probably helps in regards to delivery. So been looking at him a lot recently because I also have been, and I've been talking to Malik about this. I text him randomly about Drake.
Okay.
Just in regards to, I haven't gotten that. Of course, you know, I listen to Drake projects as they drop, but I never really studied them. Like I study other stuff. Like I've studied Kanye because I've studied Kanye pretty in depth. And so now I've been taking the past like 3-ish months to really look at his discography holistically. Think about the way that he is moving as an artist. And you know, take whatever inspiration from that is for vocals. And just overall artistry because he is a wonderful artist. Also Frank Ocean too. I love Frank. I love his vocal delivery. Brent Faiyaz. My voice doesn't go that high, but Brent Faiyaz. But yeah, just those artists, just, you know, people who I look up to. I'd love to be in rooms and work with them. I'd love for their inspiration, for some of their sounds to show up in my work. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing, man. We gotta
We're
stay
doing
tuned,
that,
man.
yeah, no, for real. And with that, we are getting into the last wrap up. Yeah, wrap up. That's the right word.
Our favorite section.
Our favorite segment of the episode, Lingo Talk with the Lingo. We ask every guest to give us their favorite slang term or terms from wherever they grew up. So you could give us the city and Atlanta. That's really up to you. But favorite in whatever way you take the word favorite. Either you thought it was funny, you thought it was just the best word to use.
It's very vernacular.
You know, like whatever, but any kind of slang term.
See, it's some shit where it's like, I was thinking about this recently, low key. It's some shit from Atlanta where it's, I don't even know if it's from Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know what jug means? Jug.
Jug?
Yeah.
Like,
Call it jug.
like I'm thinking like jug and finesse. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know.
I'm thinking about Jug like Fetty Wap.
Jug like Fetty Wap?
He had a song
Yeah.
called Jug.
I don't know that song.
So what's the context?
Jug-
Like, what does it mean?
I like Steel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. That's what.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I brought that up here before to somebody. It was actually this nigga. But like Jug, I love because I also love stealing.
Klepto.
Yeah.
Fuck corporations, bro.
Yeah, fuck corporations.
Honestly, like $1 billion corporations, like
that's not even
I
stealing.
deadass.
Who thinks that's
Target,
stealing?
Walmart, like shit like those, bro. I go in there not even with the thought of doing it, and I do it. Like I just
very casual.
Yeah, very casual. Like it's not like malicious intent to steal.
It's not,
Like
it's not an act.
not like
It's me. It's me. You know what I'm saying? It's not an act. It's me.
You know, I never steal from black-owned places or black-run places. Like, you know, it's really just white places.
Yeah.
Like, Jug, wow.
Yeah.
Jug.
Jug.
I love it.
A real message for the kids, you know. Yo, Jonathan, thank you for coming to chop it up.
Of course. Anytime.
No, yeah.
Sure.
For real. With that being said, Joe, it's your homie ATM.
NC boy O.
And it's your boy Jonathan.
99 got it, Jonathan.
Facts. And with that, y'all, stay up, be safe, be easy. Peace.